Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Next we're looking at an underrated movie from Disney, The Odd Life of Timothy Green.
When a childless couple puts all of their wishes for a baby boy in a box in the backyard, soon a child is born, though Timothy Green is not all that he appears.
Right.
And this is a movie that I personally have been waiting to see for a very long time, and finally we got to see it during this free time during the events that are going on. It was being shown on demand for free as what is it called?
I think a free preview.
Yes, a free preview. And when Rascal was a child, this is actually one of the stories that she read for school. So we were very familiar with the story of this life of Timothy Green.
Right. The original story took place in China and had a little bit of a different story. The movie kind of Disney-fied it, where the child is handled differently. You see it from beginning to end, while the movie sort of jumps a little forward when starting with Timothy Green. Instead of seeing him from a baby, you kind of see him from 12 years old. So you kind of don't see them raised from babe, infant to childhood to adulthood. They kind of just started childhood, and then from then on.
But I think it was Disney-fied in the way that they tend to do things. They make it magical. Right. So instead of a baby they were looking for, that they would get to have, the baby would get to have all these traits and develop them as he grew up, Timothy Green appears exactly as the boy they wanted him to grow into.
Right.
And I thought it was a fantastic film. I thought it was well done. It was wonderful. You cry when you're supposed to cry. You laugh when you're supposed to laugh. It was heart-wrenching, heartwarming. And, of course, the way it ended, you didn't want it to end. But that's the difference in Disney. As you mentioned, there was a whole different ending for the story itself.
Right.
Where you got to see a full life. But in this one, you didn't. But it's just the way Disney does things.
Right.
And you had the stars, Jennifer Garner and Joel Edgerton, as Cindy and Jim Green, the parents that he got. And you had a couple of stars we were familiar with, David Morse, Emmett Walsh, Diane Weist, and the movie was very endearing, and it's something that it's definitely a family film that everyone can enjoy, and there aren't any things that you have to worry about that you kind of don't want to be seen.
Right.
It was very well done.
Right. The most we'll have is like a little bit of their standard Disney things that you do in terms of, losing somebody, but that's really it. And they don't go to Bridget Terabithia lengths of just making it just horrendously bad. They don't go in that direction at all.
And here's a little fun fact for you. Lin-Manuel Miranda appears in this film.
Right.
Years before Hamilton.
Right. And Moana, too.
Yes.
And for a little bit, we kind of know what happened with this movie because we knew about it, we saw some ads, and then like a lot of these other films, unless they're box office hits or something, they disappear. And Timothy Green kind of disappeared, and that's why for a long time we did not see the movie. Not because we, didn't want to see it or forgot about it. It's just that no one talked about it. So for a while, it's like, oh wait, this movie exists. Why doesn't anybody talk about it?
And every time I would see something that's similar, I would go, well, why don't they have Timothy Green out? Why haven't they put this movie out? Why is this movie not on TV? Why is it not available? And it took 8 years for this to become available to watch, which is very odd. Even when you see Disney promoting other movies, it's not available. Even on the site where you turn in your points, where you can trade them in for movies, it's not available. So it wasn't a box office failure. It took $25 million to make, and it made double the amount, more than double the amount. So it wasn't a financial failure.
Right.
So
go
if
figure.
you haven't seen this movie, this is really something you should take the time to watch. It's got, as we mentioned, all the elements you need for a great family movie, and it's endearing, and it's very sweet, and everyone was fantastic at their roles, absolutely fantastic.
Right. And it mentioned is that he's peculiar in a way where he doesn't act like most of the other kids, and he sees things very differently, not just because of the stuff they wrote that they wanted in a kid, but because that's how from the surrounding nature that he was in, this is who he is, where he's definitely more empathetic, he's more understanding, he's never mean to anybody, not even the kids that were bullying him, he never flinched or was even bothered by it. So it was really a standout thing for the character, because usually we have our little plot things where there's supposed to be a sad moment, an angry moment, a happy moment, stuff. You don't really get that. You get like one sad moment in the movie, and then as it get further on, but you stay in this state of just heartwarming joy when you watch the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of funny moments, even though it's a dramedy. There are lots of funny moments in here, and it comes from the fact that he's honest. He literally can't lie, so whatever he feels, he tells, even if it's not something someone wants to hear. He thinks that telling the truth will help them, and it's like, you shouldn't say that.
And he's born with leaves on his legs, and in the beginning they try to trim the leaves, but they find out that they can't because it affects him. And then you will find out the importance of the leaves as you watch the movie. Mm-hmm. And you get to see more of Cindy and Jim's family, because, of course, they suddenly have this kid the next day that they didn't have the day before.
Right.
And you can see more of the relationships between she and her sister and her husband and his dad, and just everyone around, and how everyone is changed who comes in contact with him, and he leaves a lasting impression on them as well. And the biggest impression he leaves is on Cindy and Jim, and how they view the world, and how they view in having a child, and what it means for them, and what it means to be parents. So it's just a beautiful story, beautifully done.
And I'm kind of glad this wasn't animated, because I think it did its job well as it was. Yeah, it wasn't animated. Yeah, it wasn't like a lot of the other Disney films, but in that way it stands out. They stepped away from doing a lot of Disney formulaic things that you expect to see in so many other movies, and they didn't veer off so much. It's like, this is not a movie anymore. So it's great that this was made in the first place, even with the changes to it. It's definitely should be considered one of Disney's best films.
I would still love to see an animated version of the original Japanese story done by someone.
Yes.
I really would love to see that.
Me too.
And I would not compare it with Disney's version.
No.
I would just take it as being two entirely different movies that have been done about a similar character. And that's the way I would approach it.
Right. I think so too. That would definitely work.
And I want to mention Lin-Manuel Miranda again, because, as you know, he is the writer and creator of Hamilton. So you get to see him actually perform in this movie, and you get to see what a great actor he was. He didn't have a really big role, but his character and his performance really left an impression on you in watching this movie. So you can see why he's been so successful as he has in the driver's seat with Hamilton.
Right.
So if you have seen this movie, or if you were able to read the story as a kid like Rascal, let us know what you think in the comments below. We think it's a fantastic Disney movie. If you don't, let us know why.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future videos and World of Paws podcasts.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for watching. I'm Ask Entertainments.
And I'm Mom Entertainments.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket. People in the back, for the people in the front. For the people on the side, for the people on the front. For the people in the middle, or the alley, one of them.